Today, we are breaking down a tense and highly scrutinized Senate confirmation hearing that put former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi in the hot seat. What unfolded was not just a back and forth between senators and a nominee, but a revealing look at the deep concerns surrounding the future of the Department of Justice.
Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman. Welcome, Ms. Bondi.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for meeting with me. I greatly appreciate that.
It was a pleasure. Ms. Bondi, you were a courtroom prosecutor for a great many years. As a courtroom prosecutor, did you ever have an enemies list?
No, Senator.
And you went on to be Florida's Attorney General. As Florida's Attorney General, did you ever have an enemies list?
No, Senator.
As Florida's Attorney General, you were responsible for hiring into the Florida Department of Attorney General, correct?
Senator, the Attorney General's office in Florida is the third largest in the state, approximately 1,400 employees and approximately 400 lawyers. Only California and Texas are our bigger offices.
And you were responsible
yes.
for hiring into that office while you were Attorney General?
Yes.
Would you
Senator.
have hired someone into the Florida Attorney General's office who you knew had an enemies list?
Senator, to cut to the chase, you're clearly talking about Kash Patel. I don't believe he has an enemies list. He made a quote on TV, which I have not heard. I saw your sign, or Senator Durbin's sign, about Kash. But I know that Kash Patel has had 60 jury trials as a public defender, as a prosecutor. He has great experience in the Intel Department, Department of Defense. I have known Kash, and I believe that Kash is the right person at this time for this job. You'll have the ability to question Mr. Patel.
And I'm questioning you right now
do.
about whether you will enforce an enemies list that he announced publicly on television.
Oh, Senator, I'm sorry. There will never be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
Thank you. The FBI's, what is the FBI's role in national security and counterterrorism, and how important is that role?
You know, Senator, I believe now more than ever, counterterrorism is so important and vital in our country. We are facing such incredible threats here and abroad. I'm sure many of you saw former FBI Director Wray's interview on 60 Minutes. He talked about the threats that, frankly, again, I don't have my security clearance, but the threats facing us, Senator, from China right now that are so great, the sleeper cells within our country.
Given that importance, is it responsible to call for shutting down the FBI's counterterrorism and national security work? And will you, as Attorney General, impede or shut down the FBI's counterterrorism and national security work?
Senator,
2 questions.
Senator, I believe that national security is vital right now for our country on so many fronts. I could continue to discuss many others.
And the FBI's role in that?
And the FBI plays a vital role in counterterrorism
which you will or will not shut down.
I will look at each agency. I have no intention of shutting anything down right now, Senator. I am not in that office yet, and if confirmed, I will look at each individual agency and how it should be managed, but counterterrorism right now in our world is vital.
You have said that Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted in the Trump administration. What Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted and why?
I said that on TV. I said prosecutors will be prosecuted to finish the quote, if bad. Investigators will be investigated. You know, we all take an oath, Senator, to uphold the law. None of us are above the law. Let me give you a really good example of a bad lawyer within the Justice Department, a guy named Klein Smith, who altered a FISA warrant, one of the most important things we can do in this country. So will everyone be held to an equal, fair system of justice? If I am the next Attorney General, absolutely, and no one is above the law.
Under what circumstances will you prosecute journalists for what they write?
I believe in the freedom of speech. Only if anyone commits a crime. It's pretty basic, Senator, with anything, with any victim. And this goes back to my entire career for 18 years as a prosecutor and then 8 years as Florida's Attorney General. You find the facts of the case, you apply the law in good faith, and you treat everyone fairly.
And it would not be appropriate for a prosecutor to start with a name and look for a crime. It's a prosecutor's job to start with a crime and look for a name, correct?
Senator, I think that is the whole problem with the weaponization that we have seen the last 4 years and what's been happening to Donald Trump. They targeted Donald Trump. They went after him, actually starting back in 2016. They targeted his campaign. They have launched countless investigations against him. That will not be the case if I am Attorney General. I will not politicize that office. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation. Justice will be administered even-handedly throughout this country. Senator, we've got to bring this country back together. We've got to move forward, or we're going to lose our country.
Yeah, I think the concern is that weaponization of the Justice Department may well occur under your tenure. And we want to make sure that that's not the case, that you remain independent, that you remain able to and willing to tell the president no when that's necessary to protect the Constitution and the integrity of the department. So that's where I'm asking these questions. We talked in the meeting about the contacts policy that has prevailed really since Senator Hatch sat in that chair and demanded it of the Clinton Justice Department through all the administration since then, with the exception of a brief period under Attorney General Gonzalez, which he corrected and which did not end well for him. There has been a contacts policy that limits contacts between the White House and the Department of Justice to a very few senior officials on each side. In your role as Attorney General, if you are confirmed, will you maintain, defend, and enforce that longstanding contacts policy?
Senator, yes, I will meet with White House counsel and I will meet with the appropriate officials and follow the contacts policy.
My time has expired. Thank you, Ms. Bondi.
Senator Cornyn.
The FBI, and the rule of law. If you're following the trajectory of political power in Washington and what it means for American institutions, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. The exchanges began with Senator Whitehouse pressing Bondi on a simple but powerful question: whether she had ever kept an enemies list during her career as a prosecutor or as Attorney General of Florida. She denied it both times and emphasized her experience running one of the largest Attorney General offices in the nation. But that question was not about her past. It was a setup for a concern about the future. Senator Whitehouse then pivoted to a controversial figure, Kash Patel, whose name has surfaced repeatedly in conversations about political loyalty and potential retaliation against perceived opponents. Bondi attempted to vouch for Patel's professional record, but the senator's point was broader. He wanted to know whether she, as Attorney General, would enforce or enable any form of politically motivated enemies list. Bondi insisted she would not, saying such a list would have no place inside the Department of Justice. These questions matter because they speak to the resilience of democratic norms. If political power is used to target opponents, the justice system stops functioning as an independent institution. We covered these dynamics daily, so go ahead and subscribe to stay informed. The hearing then shifted to national security, specifically the FBI's role in counterterrorism. Bondi acknowledged the seriousness of today's threats, referencing comments made by former FBI Director Christopher Wray about foreign adversaries and sleeper cells. Senator Whitehouse raised a crucial question: whether she supported calls made by some in the Trump orbit to shut down or drastically curtail the FBI's counterterrorism and national security operations. Bondi tried to keep the door open while also reassuring senators that she had no immediate intention of dismantling anything. This is where viewers should understand the stakes. The FBI does not simply investigate crimes. It holds the front line of domestic intelligence work. Changing its structure or mandate could reshape how the United States detects and prevents threats. If you want deeper dives into these issues, remember to subscribe for more detailed analysis. Another heated moment came when Senator Whitehouse pressed Bondi on past statements where she claimed that Department of Justice prosecutors would themselves be prosecuted. Bondi defended her remarks by citing a past case in which a DOJ lawyer altered a FISA document. She framed her position around accountability, arguing that no official should be above the law. But the senator's concern, once again, was about direction. Would she use the power of the Justice Department to target political adversaries or career federal employees who simply made decisions that a future administration dislikes? This exchange reminded viewers of an essential principle of American justice. Prosecutors are supposed to start with evidence and then identify suspects, not start with a person and hunt for a crime. Bondi echoed that point, but she also criticized investigations involving former President Trump, calling them politicized. This is where the hearing touched the core political divide in the country. One side argues that Trump has been unfairly targeted. The other argues that holding powerful individuals accountable is essential for democracy. The Attorney General sits directly in the middle of that tension. If you're trying to understand how these debates influence real policy decisions, make sure to subscribe for future breakdowns. The senator closed by emphasizing that the fear is not just past weaponization, but potential future weaponization under Bondi's leadership. The country has seen how fragile institutional independence can be and how quickly public trust erodes when justice appears political. Bondi insisted she would act independently and uphold fairness, but her critics left the hearing unconvinced that she would always be willing to tell a president no. This hearing was not just another political moment. It was a window into competing visions of what justice should look like in America. The power of an attorney general is vast, and the tone they set reverberates through every federal courtroom and every community. As this confirmation process continues and new details emerge, we will keep bringing you the most thoughtful, in-depth analysis. If you want to stay informed, understand the implications, and learn how these decisions shape the nation, hit that subscribe button.